Alright, today we're going to go over how to build complex sentences in Spanish. How do you actually get to the point of being able to build a complex sentence? Because that's what's required to be actually conversational. And yes, I'm doing this video from my bed, so please don't judge me. So, it's going to require 3 steps. Step 1 is know the different concepts. Now, what does that mean? If you've watched my videos, okay, I'll say if you're new to my channel, you don't know this, but I always tell people to focus on verbs. Just verbs, 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 verbs. Focus on verbs as much as you can. Focus on learning how to modify verbs, because being able to speak in the present tense versus the past versus the future all requires you to have the ability to modify verbs differently. So we won't go into actual different concepts in this video because that's not the point of this video, but I'll bring up examples of different concepts. So for example, reflexive verbs. These are verbs which come with a reflexive pronoun. So like ducharse, let's do it this way. Ducharse is to shower. The reason why it's called a reflexive verb is because the person doing the action and receiving the action is the same, right? So to shower, you're typically showering yourself, so it's going to come with this reflexive pronoun. Again, we're not going to go into the details. If this is all new to you, you can watch a video that explains reflexive verbs from scratch, but this is an example of a concept. Another example would be object pronouns. So these would be things like I see you, yo te veo. That would be like this. Te here is the object pronoun. So in this case, the subject is I, the verb is see, and the object is you. Yo te veo. Okay, you can see in English it goes after the verb, in Spanish before. Whatever, we're not going to jump into the details. Anyways, another example would be the present progressive. So this would be something like yo estoy comiendo. I am eating. The progressive is where it's this ing form, something that's in progress. I am eating, I am doing, I am whatever ing. In English, it ends with ing. In Spanish, it's going to end with ndo. Yo estoy haciendo is I am doing. And yo estoy nadando, as an example, is I am swimming. So these are just examples of different concepts, right? So actually learn the different concepts. Step 2, so step 1 is know the different concepts. Step 2 is master each concept. So that's going to require you to be able to really like use it. So yo estoy, how would this change if instead of I'm eating, it's you are eating? So in English, the am becomes are. The conjugation of the verb changes. So yo estoy becomes tú estás comiendo. If instead of I'm doing, it's he is doing, it would be él está haciendo. These are just examples of you actually mastering it, right? With reflexive verbs, it's yo me ducho, tú te duchas. So this is I shower, you shower. So if you wanted to say I am showering, so we've mastered each concept. We can speak of it from multiple different angles. We can say I, you, whoever. So now we want to combine. That's step 3. Combine different concepts together. So for example, I am, instead of I shower, which is yo me ducho, that's the reflexive verb. And let's go with the present progressive, an example. So reflexive verb example. Present progressive example. I am eating. Yo estoy comiendo. So now, what if we combine these two? In the sense of we combine a reflexive verb with a present progressive. So we want to say I am showering. Combine the two concepts. Okay, so we can't use the verb comer because it's not reflexive, so we have to use a reflexive verb like shower. Yo me estoy duchando. That would be how you combine them. So, and what was the other So object pronouns, let's say we wanted to even throw in a third concept in there. So the verb ponerse is reflexive. It means to put on, like clothing-wise. So yo me pongo la ropa. I put on the clothes. Tú te pones la ropa. You put on the clothes, etc. So what if we wanted to say that in the progressive? Instead of I put on the clothes, it's I'm putting on the clothes. It would be yo me estoy poniendo la ropa. I am putting on the clothes. Tú te estás poniendo la ropa. You are putting on the clothes. And notice I'm not going to explain how exactly this works. The whole point is that's not the point of this video. The point is to show you how I managed to get to a point of building out complex sentences. Now, if we wanted to combine three concepts, so let's say we wanted to do reflexive verbs with object pronouns with the present progressive. So something like, I am putting it on, referring to the clothes. It'd be yo me la estoy poniendo. So now you can see how you have a complex sentence because you've mastered each concept individually, and then when it comes time to put them together, you've also learned how to put them together. In this case, there's a rule that it's called the RID rule. Reflexive pronouns go first, then indirect object pronouns, then direct object pronouns. You don't got to worry about all that right now, but that's why it goes yo me la instead of yo la me. That would be wrong. And also it's just the rule that it goes, if we go back up here, I see you, the object pronoun goes before the verb. So obviously you're going to have to memorize certain rules. In learning about object pronouns, you already know that. In learning about reflexive verbs, you already know how they work. In learning about the present progressive, you already know how that works. So the point of this video wasn't to teach you new concepts. It was just to show you how to build complex sentences from a higher level. So you're gonna have to do the hard work of actually knowing the different concepts and learning them. You can see videos on my channel where I explain some of these concepts. I have a whole coaching program where I help people actually understand these concepts, and then we do the work of putting them together so that you can put together complex sentences, and then we evolve that into actual full-blown conversations. And that's how my students become conversational in Spanish to an impressive degree, where they're accurate and they actually know how to use the language. So you can do the same for yourself. Hopefully that made sense. I know I kind of rushed through it. I didn't want to actually go into explaining each concept, but yeah, give this a try. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.